back to another episode of Marvel Card Collecting and Investing with me, Gingerman Cards. Just thought I'd do a quick update on SGC, and I'm sure most of you already heard. If you're on YouTube or Instagram, they have decreased their prices for their base cards or base value submission, whatever you want to call it, to $30. And I'm just going to show you or read out a update which was yesterday from Peter Steinberg. They have said, as promised, we have graded, processed and shipped every card that we received from the sudden influx of orders. I mentioned previous statement that the price increase was temporary, so with that being said, we've decreased our base rate from $75 a card to $30 a card effectively immediately. Our turnaround times are still unmatched and will not be compromised. Now, I believe the turnaround times are 20 to 25 days for SGC, and that's just interesting. So I wanted to go through a couple of things, and if you're an investor, collector of Marvel cards, does this affect you? Is this worth looking into? These are purely my thoughts, and you should always do your own research. So let's have a look at prices first of all, because this is, let's be honest, the most important thing most people are looking at. So PSA, I've picked two cards. So PSA and SGC just to compare prices. And I've taken a Venom card from the 1990 Marvel Universe set, card number 73, just to look at, because in terms of sales history, there were a couple that are sold not too far between them, and in terms of grades. So should say SGC has a pristine 10, a 10 and a 9.5, whereas PSA just has 9, 10, which is far easier and far better. But to get a 10 in an SGC is actually very hard. From what I've seen from YouTube videos and how they grade, that demands a bit more money. If you get a SGC 10 pristine, big time, yes. An SGC 10, yes. SGC 10, yes, it does as well. But for this purpose, I've compared an SGC 9.5 to a PSA 10. It's what most people say is the comparison. So $493 for a 1990 Impel Marvel Universe Venom card 73, PSA 10, $493. Let's have a look at an SGC. SGC, so they sold within 6 days of each other, so not much of a difference. Same card, 9.5 SGC, sold for $130. So a very big disparity between the two, and that is always going to be the case, regardless of where we are the year, where we are down the line. It's always going to be the case, in my opinion. So that's just one card that I've looked at, but there are loads of cards that you compare. But on average, I work out that it's around 35% to 40%. Again, completely variable. Depends on the card. But yeah, 35 to 40% SGC cards are less in terms of monetary value than PSA cards, selling for less. So that is, again, completely variable. Depends on the card and obviously the grade. So 9.5 is what they comp to a PSA 10. But yeah, just very, very interesting. So that's, and just talking about Stan Lee as well. So I haven't got it up on the screen, but PSA recently sold for $700, PSA 10, SGC 10, SGC 10 Stanley sold for $250. So again, even larger disparity there between those two. So that's just to say, BGS of the same card, Stanley 9.5, sold for $405. So BGS clearly the middleman and clearly the more favoured grading company over PSA, which has been the case for a long time, especially recently. So that's prices. So the second thing I wanted to show you was the look of the slab. So let's talk about collectability, investing, flipping, etc. So I've typed in the wrong thing. I'm going to put in 1990 Marvel SGC, and I'll show you the Storm card that recently sold. Also, actually, just to point out, a poll from the group, the Marvel chat group that I have going. If you want to enter that, please just message me on Instagram, gingerman_cards. We talk about all things Marvel cards, graded cards, everything. He mentioned about this card. So 1990 Marvel Universe Doctor Doom SGC 10 sold for $76. So let's let that sink in for a minute. SGC 10 sold for $76. Of a fairly well-known character, not the biggest, but yeah, a well-known character in the collecting world, investing world, I would say as well. But the thing I wanted to talk about, is it worth getting your Marvel graded cards? Is it worth getting your Marvel cards graded at SGC? And to cut a long story short, in my opinion, no. Currently, for me, I wouldn't do it. Because I am not confident enough in my eye to make sure I get a 9.5 or 10. Because if you don't get that, you're screwed. I'm going to put it bluntly. An SGC 9.5 Storm just sold for $31. So there you go. There's your answer. But I should explain why, shouldn't I? Really. So first of all, I just mentioned the price. The second thing is also the look and the feel. I currently don't own any SGC slabs. I don't know if I ever will. So let's have a look at Electra. Why do I keep saying Electra? A Storm card. So this is 9.5, really nice shape. Don't get me wrong, it looks really, really nice. It pops the colours out. You can see the blue, the yellow, the red. It pops the card out on the black slab. It's simple. It's tuxedo style, penguin style, whatever you want to call it. The writing for me is like, I always use this, Times New Roman is what I would call that writing, the font. Boring. Is PSA 1 boring? Let's have a look. Yes, you could argue it is. I'm just going to get the Venom one up. I don't know. But in terms of look, it to me looks a bit plasticky, bit tacky, and that for me is a big factor. If I'm collecting these cards for my PC, is a big factor. If you're investing in these cards long term, is a big factor. So yeah, I just wanted to say you just need to be really careful. If you're thinking about sending these cards off to be graded, you need to be dead certain that you're going to get a good grade. That's the first thing I would think about. The second thing is resale. So if you're going to sell the cards because you're flipping, for example, it's risky, especially if you're doing an auction. There's been a lot of low cards in terms of dollar amount, a lot of low cheap cards selling in SGC slabs. So that was my thoughts really. Just a quick video. Oh, I should just show you the pop report before I go. My God, I need to get myself in a groove today. Right, 1990 Marvel. This is the SGC pop report, okay? So, it looks very different from PSA's. And I don't like it, but... so, one pristine ever for this set so far. 271 tens. 385 9.5s, 397 9s.